It was 1990. A small group of visionary women came together because they recognized the need for an organization focused exclusively on women's issues. This original group documented the role and needs of area women and worked passionately to raise dollars for that cause.
The Women's Fund was part of the Omaha Community Foundation and part of an effort nationally to actually get more dollars, more endowment dollars into community foundations.
What I wanted to do more than anything was to get involved with work that focused on important issues affecting women and girls.
I think I always wanted women to be out there solving problems.
There was a passionate group of women that put everything on the line to raise the money in the community and take a stand for women and girls, and they deserve our thanks and our honor.
Because of the women involved, there was a planning committee that started, and I knew that any time that I spent with those women would be a joy and, more significantly, productive.
20 years later, the Women's Fund of Omaha is the collective voice and primary champion of informed and innovative change for Omaha's women and girls. Since its inception, the Women's Fund has invested more than $2.5 million in grants and projects that have helped improve the lives of thousands.
What we need to change needs to be something we understand, and in order to understand it, we need to do the research.
The first research report we did was called How Are Women Doing in Omaha? And it was a socioeconomic status report, basically, on the condition of women here in Omaha. We thought it was an important place to start as we were starting out.
We really used the data to determine where the greatest need is in the community, and then we either fund other people to address the problems or we tackle them ourselves.
We interviewed leaders in Omaha, and I think as a sort of side effect of the research, they learned more about what the Women's Fund was and what we were trying to accomplish.
We have published a number of reports and followed up on the recommendations from them, and really that has, I think, moved the needle for women. We have a long way to go, but I do think that our research is probably the fundamental core of the organization.
They were the first to identify the need in this community, and I think that unless they had done that, we probably would not be where we are right now, being able to understand what the services need to look like, what is a community strategy. The Women's Fund was the first. And for that, I think we should all continue to be very, very grateful for what they've done in this community.
When I think about the Women's Fund, I think of an organization that really invests in quality programs.
Not only just handing the grants, but it is the identification of the issues.
Depending on the research to tell us where the needs are, and then asking the community to respond to those needs.
The Women's Fund is a bold organization. It's an organization that is not afraid to take on and fund these difficult, challenging issues in our community.
There is no other organization that is completely tasked with understanding what are the critical issues that impede the progress of women and girls in this community.
4 of the grants have been given to organizations in this community to address STDs. That speaks volumes, and I know at that time that I could always rely on the Women's Fund and they would do the right thing.
The Women's Fund was the first in this community to identify the issue of domestic violence and the fact that we did not have a coordinated way to address the issue in this community.
The Women's Fund really offers an opportunity for people to invest in the girls and young women in our community.
If they weren't here, who would do that? Who would have the courage to bring to the table a lot of different voices and organizations, get people to collaborate, and give them the courage and the push to take on these difficult issues in our community? I think it's amazing that the Women's Fund has only been around for 20 short years, and in that time, they have funded over $2.5 million worth of program through grants in our community.
Being able to see the kinds of things that are happening is really reaffirming to know that there is a wonderful future here.
My dream would be that we could continue to grow the fund so we could be a more powerful force in the community and really continue to address where the needs are greatest.
I'd like to see the Women's Fund continue much of the work that it's currently doing, continued work on helping women have a safe place to live and safe places to go, helping women find economic self-sufficiency.
I can't really predict what the Women's Fund will be working on in the next 20 years because we respond to needs in the community as they arise.
When you create an institution like the Women's Fund, you're not building it for today. You are building it for tomorrow.
I only hope that there's another 20 years in store that is even bigger and better than these first 20.